Welcome to the All Access Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Joseph Bruen. It is the WrestleMania special. Welcome to the WrestleMania special here. On the panel, we have some familiar faces and a newbie here on the All Access Entertainment Podcast. And let's start with you, the biggest Hulkamaniac in New England, without a doubt, Mr. Johnny Dollar himself, John Disumma. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being here.
Joe, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Known you a long time, and it's going to be good to catch up and chat wrestling. And, of course, all things WrestleMania. Slick Rick is here as well. Ricky Gonzalez, welcome back to the show.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely. And Zach Malibu himself. Figures Incorporated Master, Mr. Chris Depetrillo. Welcome back.
What's up? Thank you for having me back. Good to see all my friends here. One of my oldest friends jumping on the panel. Nice little surprise. I don't get to see him as much these days because we're doing dad duty.
Yeah. Yep.
The reuniting of you guys. It's been, how long has it been since you guys have seen each other?
Probably in person at least a year or so.
At least,
Probably
yeah.
Like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you filming from the same room, though? Oh, no.
He's on the other side. We just, we have the wall up.
I was going to say, that's a fake wall. That's like a, I don't know, but all right.
COVID rules.
Yeah, exactly. So WrestleMania, it's upon us. It's almost here. This will be airing probably in a few days. So WrestleMania will be about a week away when this airs. But let's talk day one. Let's talk the build as well. What do you guys, briefly, what do you guys think of the build to WrestleMania? We were just kind of talking about it off air. I feel like maybe the build was kind of thrown together. The last 2 weeks have been quite good, but really before that, nobody knew what was going on at WrestleMania. What are your thoughts? We'll start with you, Ricky.
Yeah, I think pretty slow for WrestleMania. I think they're scrambling now to try to get things together and create some hype. Obviously, like we discussed a little while ago with, ticket sales not being where they want them to be. I think they're like, oh shit, now we have to do something extreme. The whole Pat McAfee thing is just so strange. I don't know if that was the original plan. You're hearing all this stuff online about who's making the decisions to bring him in. It just feels really awkward going into WrestleMania this year. I'm still excited for the show. I think the matches overall, both nights, stack up really well. But the build has definitely been off.
Yeah. How about you, Johnny?
Yeah, we're talking about Brock and Oba. And like you said, Joe, they're starting to touch one another, which, kind of takes away from the match. And to be honest, I don't think Oba is ready to be the next big thing personally. But especially what Heyman talked about, how Brock is not going to supposedly lose until his retirement match. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah, supposedly.
Like that,
I don't know.
supposedly.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that match, though.
I just feel like they shouldn't. Anybody going into a big match at WrestleMania shouldn't be connecting before WrestleMania unless it's very brief and it gets broken up or whatever. You don't want to give too much away, and I feel like they're at the point now where Lesnar and Oba are giving each other power moves and going through things, and it's like, what are you going to want to see at WrestleMania if you're giving it all away on Raw?
They're trying too hard, yeah.
It's a little too much, and they want the people to tune in, but that could kind of do the opposite there. But Chris, well, how about you?
I just think the booking, it feels like a rush job. Even before they were in panic mode, before the tickets, it feels like now, so many people that were, upper mid card, close to main event, like Solo Sikoa is doing nothing except kind of wallowing in mid card obscurity on SmackDown now. We haven't seen the Street Profits for a while. The tag division, the SmackDown tag teams, they have so many good tag teams. There's no Motor City Machine Guns. There's no Nathan Frazier and Axiom. You could have a really stacked card with all these action-packed matches, and all these guys are kind of getting left by the wayside. We're getting that ladder match, which should be an amazing match, but even that just feels very thrown together with people like Rusev in it who have really done nothing for the last couple of months. And it seems like it'll be a showcase for guys like Javon, which is great. Like, you want to elevate him. but it really it's almost like dartboard booking. It's like, who haven't we booked yet? All right, they're gonna fight this guy. All right, are they gonna fight for a title? Nope, it's a non-title match. It's just there's no hardcore focus on anything beyond maybe like the top 3 or 4 matches.
I mean, WrestleManias in the past, there'd be 8 to 12 matches in one night. Now it's two nights, but that doesn't mean you want to see 24 matches of professional wrestling. You know what I mean? And also WrestleMania needs to mean something. So yeah, the Street Profits haven't been on for a few weeks. So that's why they're not on WrestleMania. I feel like, everybody shouldn't be on the card. And I don't like how they kind of throw in people. It's like, they had the ladder match, which is fine, and I'm looking forward to the ladder match. But when you have too many multi-man matches, that's when I kind of lose interest. Now they threw together the 6-man tag and it literally just kind of threw it together. And it's like, I was just complaining a couple weeks ago that how is LA Knight not on the show? He's so over. He should have a position. Obviously, he's made a couple mistakes. He's fallen off the ropes a couple times. But I mean, it is what it is, though. It happens to everybody, and you can't take away his popularity, the work that he's put in, the shape that he's in. And he definitely, if anybody, he deserves a spot at WrestleMania. And 2 weeks ago, he didn't have a spot at WrestleMania. And now he's in a 6-man tag that you would see on Velocity if this were, 2007. So it's like, all right, kind of interesting. But no, overall, though, I do like the card, even though it was storyline-wise kind of thrown together. On paper, a lot of the matches are still looking real solid. Looking forward to the 2 nights, both of them. But let's start with day one. It's kind of odd that we were talking off air a little bit about this. Hour 1 is being given away for free on ESPN, and it's kind of strange that they're doing that, in my opinion, but I get it. Obviously they used to do the free for all. They used to do the countdown show and you'd get that one match. But with a 3-hour countdown show that they have anyway, they could do that on there. I don't feel like any of the card should be given away for free, but it is what it is. Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu. It's an unsanctioned match, and it's going to be free to the public on ESPN. Let's hear your predictions. For Drew and Jacob Fatu, I like both of them. I think they're both great. I think that Drew kind of deserves, a little more just because of the whole COVID thing that happened to him and stuff. And even though he had the championship recently, he just deserves a little more, I feel like. And Jacob Fatu has put in the work. He's super over, and he also deserves it. So this match could honestly go either way. If I had to choose, I'm going to go with Jacob Fatu. But I do feel like, if Drew wins, it wouldn't be a surprise. It would be fine either way. How about you, Chris?
We're fans of both guys big time in this house. I mean, Drew McIntyre is one of the first wrestlers that Zach kind of grew attached to, because when Zach was coming up was when Drew came back to NXT. And Jacob Fatu, been a fan of his since the Indies, like the MLW days. I think that Jacob Fatu needs to win. I think it's better for him long term to win this one. I think that Drew, especially with the character that he's doing now, which a lot of people have compared to like that Bret Hart 97, always finding the angle to like give himself an out or to complain about the circumstances. I think you can get away with him losing, especially if it's unsanctioned, because now he could walk away and do well, you didn't beat me in a real match. You beat me in an unsanctioned match or a street fight or whatever. You can't pin me 1, 2, 3. So I don't think this is going to be the blow off to the angle. I think this is going to be just a chapter in the story. But I think at WrestleMania, especially if this is part of the show that you're giving away for free, put over the new guy, put Jacob Fatu on top.
Johnny?
Yeah, I agree too. I'm rooting for Jacob.
Yeah. How about you, Ricky?
Yeah, I think it's time for Jacob to get that big like signature win. That can catapult him to the next level. Drew doesn't need it, and pretty much what Chris was saying is part of his character. I just heard him on a podcast, and he was in character pretty much the whole time, kind of playing the it's unfair treatment for him, and he does it so well. So. I also think, I've heard that he has to go film, I think like a TV series or something. So
Highlander movie.
Oh, it's a movie. All right. So if that's the case and he's going to be off for a few months, let Jacob get the win, run with that, grab the momentum for the summertime, build up SummerSlam. And when Drew gets back, then if they're gonna revisit that, it'll be an easy way to pick that back up.
Nice to see they're finally making a movie about Robbie and Rory. I like that.
Oh God.
Very nice. I like that. So the other match that they're giving away for free,
Oh man.
the Usos and LA Knight, which I said was, thrown together, in my opinion, against iShow Speed and, of course, the Vision Tag Team Champions. Granted, it was thrown together, but I think it's going to be a great match. I'm a fan of the Usos. I've always preferred Usos as a team over the singles, Jimmy and Jay. Couldn't really get into Jay as a singles act, and I feel like Jimmy was kind of just left by the wayside. Obviously, Jay was super over as a single star, but I've always preferred them as a team. LA Knight, I'm a big fan of. iShow Speed, I mean, yeah, he's a celebrity. He's just thrown in there, but he's got some good moves, and he's obviously, he wouldn't be on WrestleMania if he wasn't doing some unbelievable training. So I think we're going to expect some good things from iShow Speed. And the Vision, obviously, both very solid. Logan Paul, one of the best to do it in recent years. So I think that 6-man tag, even though it seems like just a thrown together match, and I, jokingly, I said we'd see it on Velocity. I think it's actually going to be a really good 6-man tag. And yeah, I think I'd have to go with iShow and the Vision. I do think they're going to take it. Obviously, someone's going to either interfere or they're going to cheat, but I think they are going to take it home there. I could be wrong, but I don't see iShow Speed losing, especially with the following that he has. And, this is his first big thing. So I don't know. I feel like he's going to take it. How about you, Johnny?
Joe, he has, you see the t-shirts he came out with? The iShow Speed.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. He does have a big following. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of rooting for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ricky?
I think they lose because he's cursed. Yeah. He's cursed right now.
True, he did get cursed.
He's cursed, so unless Danhausen uncurses him, they'll find a funny way for them to lose the match. I agree with you as far as like LA Knight, what you were saying before. I'm actually not a LA Knight guy. Like, I'm not a big fan, but as far as where he needs to be in the company, I kind of wanted him to win the Rumble. I think he deserves to take that next step. Like, what more do you have to do as a performer? Yeah, he botches a few spots here and there. Even run into the ring. I don't know if you saw the video. They have like a fan video of him hopping the rail and just diving a couple weeks ago, which was it was awesome to see. It was pretty funny. But I think overall, they probably have the Usos and LA Knight take the win on that one because of the whole curse thing, if they bring that into the match and the storyline.
Chris?
So I actually think that the curse is going to be like a WrestleMania long storyline, maybe going over both nights, because I think the Vision is going to win, probably by like nefarious means, the brass knuckles roll, holding the tights, something like that. And I think that they're going to convince Speed, like, see, you're not cursed, you're with us. And then something else will happen, whether it's backstage or when they're announcing the numbers or something like that. Because I don't think you want to blow like the Danhausen thing or whatever necessarily on free TV. I think you want to kind of carry that out further. So I think that the heels will win. Maybe the baby faces get their heat back afterwards or whatever. Or you could just do the baby faces win and then everybody's eating, and that's how you kind of end that first hour and convince people to order it. To Ricky's point, I am an LA Knight guy. I like LA Knight. I liked him when he was Eli Drake in TNA. We did the Eli Drake figure, his first ever action figure at Figures Toy Company. Right now, he feels like he's kind of stuck in that Jake the Snake, Big Boss Man in 1990 spot where he's credible and he's up towards the top, but he never really gets that chance to have that major main event match or that long title reign or anything. And that's a good spot to be in. Everybody remembers, what Jake the Snake and Big Boss Man were doing in 1990, 1991. But I think that he needs a little bit more. And I don't think it's an age thing because he's close in age to guys like Cody and Sami Zayn and everything. I think it's just a matter of they haven't had anything for him other than to be the guy that kind of pops the crowd. The crowd's always liked him. But if they don't do something big for him soon, I think we could get another Sami Zayn situation where the crowd starts to just get sick of the act and turn the other way.
Sami Zayn sucks, but
there is that.
Bite your tongue.
He's always
but that's two big matches right there for free to the public. So, be interesting to see how that goes and if that entices more people to purchase the pay-per-view or PLE. Sorry, it is 2026. I do apologize. Women's Intercontinental Championship on the line. AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. I'm going to have to go with Becky Lynch on this one. She's taking it home. Boys, what do you think?
She's a pot timer, right, Lee? Obviously, I don't think, kinda.
I mean, I don't know because since she's been back permanently.
Yeah.
But
I just don't think I don't think she's going to win. I think Becky Lynch will take it. I don't think if she goes back to being a pot time, I don't think WWE would give her the title to hold the title. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Ricky?
Yeah, I think you put the title back on Becky. She could do more with it. They've had a good feud since AJ Lee's been back, but who knows how long she's going to be there for. And honestly, I just think Becky's a better worker overall. On the mic, she's better. In the ring, she's better. And you could just have her carry that belt for a while and bring other talent up as well. Some of the younger girls, they can challenge her. With AJ Lee, she's a face, so I don't know. I think it just makes more sense for Becky to get it back. She can cheat her way to victory or whatever.
Chris?
I think with Rollins being back on the babyface side, they always tend to kind of align the real life couples, align them the same way. So I could see Becky winning it, but then I see like the begrudging respect, the handshake or the hug or whatever afterwards. And to Ricky's point, night after Mania is usually the reset button. I mean, last couple of years hasn't been as cool as when we were kids. The 1998 reformation of DX with X-Pac. Like we haven't gotten a lot of major stuff in that regard. But I think they do need to start calling some NXT people up. So maybe you put the belt on Becky and then you get like a JC Jane or someone like that coming up. And if they're going to keep Seth tied in with the Vision, why not add the first woman to the Vision? Judgment Day is kind of scattered right now. Get one of the new girls or get someone experienced to turn heel or kind of get elevated by having Heyman in their corner and then kind of do something different because we really haven't had something like Heyman doing a full court press, managing a girl against someone like Becky Lynch or Bayley, who's been at the top of the card. So you could shake things up that way.
Then we have the Women's World Championship match. Stephanie, as my son calls her, Stephanie Vacqua, will be taking on Liv Morgan. It's a tough one, but I'm going to have to go with Stephanie. I think she's going to take it. I know Liv is wildly popular right now, but I feel like Stephanie is kind of on the build-up right now. They're kind of going to give her the ring. So that's how I feel anyway. How about you guys?
I think Liv Morgan will probably take it. Stephanie, I feel, was on the build-up. They were doing so much with her. She was hot, coming out, great pops, and then there was nothing for her, it felt like, for so long. She's just there. I think, the whole, she's cutting promos in Spanish and with the translation. I feel like she loses a lot of the heat, a lot of the crowd support because of it, because they don't understand what they're saying, especially like the live crowd. Obviously, when they do the promos, the words pop up for them. But overall, I just feel like it's been a wasted title run for her after they built her up so strong. She got the belt. She had her moment. Her dad was there. And then it was like nothing, just waiting. Now she has this feud with Liv, which has been pretty good. The buildup has been excellent. The whole thing on Raw. I don't know if you guys saw the knot on Liv's head right now, which is remarkable.
Roxanne's got one too.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that's been good, but I think Liv is a heel, but she's still so popular. I think they probably run with her for a little bit as a champion.
Yeah, I agree. I like her storyline. I like her fan base, and I think she's going to probably end her revenge tour, become the champ.
See, and to your point, Ricky, I don't think that they've done as bad of a job with Stephanie Fakir as they have with Julia over on SmackDown. Julia feels like even more of a waste with
absolutely. I agree,
done.
But Stephanie was the actual champion. Like Julia was
U.S. champion,
the
U.S.
champion. Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. It's like they lose interest. Like you get them to that point where you want them to be with the title. You have all this fan support behind them, and you're like, all right, they have the fans, so we'll just concentrate on someone else. They don't build on it, which is crazy.
I could actually see Stephanie Vaquer retaining, and then they haven't done anything like a draft, but they've kind of shuffled people around. I could actually see them putting all the Judgment Day people over on SmackDown because after this point, you've kind of played out all the Raw matches. So maybe you get Liv, Raquel, and Roxanne over there, and then you've got Julia, Chelsea Green, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair. You've got kind of a new scope of women. Make some moves that way, and then you keep Stephanie Vaquer, and then maybe you bring over maybe, once Rhea beats Jade Cargill, keep Rhea on SmackDown and Jade moves over to Raw, or Jordan Grace or someone like that. So shuffle the deck a little bit because I think some of these matchups have kind of been played out, especially with SmackDown going back to 3 hours.
Absolutely.
And I think another way to look at this, a lot of people hating on, WrestleMania can't sell out. Their ticket sales are horrible. But to say something like that, all the old WrestleManias, other than a few stadium shows, were 13,000 to 19,000 in attendance. This is 2 days, over 50,000 a day. So it's like, yeah, you can't sell tickets, but you're selling over 100,000 tickets in 2 days. To compare that to where they were, I think they're still in a good place. So, people kind of dramatize it to make it seem like, they're not doing well. WWE is failing. But in the grand scheme of things, it's 2 days. So obviously it's going to be stretched out. But to sell over 100,000 tickets in 2 days is pretty damn good. You know what I mean? But
absolutely. But at the same time, the reason they're not selling the tickets are because of the pricing. If the tickets came out at a reasonable price, they would be sold out both nights.
Yeah.
I went to SummerSlam for 2 nights and the prices were actually decent. And it was absolutely jam-packed for both nights. And that's a SummerSlam in New York. It's just they did it to themselves. This dynamic pricing with the tickets, it's a whole scheme. And then you have the Ticketmaster CEO last week with the email leaks and making fun of the consumers and they're such dummies and we add all these fees and just making fun of the public. People are just getting a bad taste in their mouth. But I think that's the main reasoning for it's still excellent. Yeah, 2 nights, great, but they would sell out.
Right. It definitely sucks for the fans. It sucks for families that want to take, a large group. But from a WWE standpoint, they're probably looking at it like they're on location before the show is probably bringing in more money than if they sold the other 40,000 seats
Absolutely.
or whatever it is. So it's like, they don't care. They don't need it, So that's probably how they're looking at it. But Seth Rollins, Gunther, that's also night 1. Obviously, that was kind of thrown together, but original plans, I guess, was supposed to be the tag team match. So there's nothing you could really do about that. They really had no choice. The build-up's been a little odd. I feel like, obviously, Gunther's been retiring everybody. Certainly he's not going to retire Seth Rollins, and this isn't a retirement match. But with that said, I think that the momentum is going to continue. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but I feel like Gunther is either going to be victorious or at least go out on top somehow, because you can't retire all those people and then just lose to Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and when you're beating megastars like AJ Styles, John Cena, to just lose out of nowhere. So, yeah. So, it's kind of strange. So I'm going to have to go with Gunther. And like I said, even if he doesn't get the pin or the submission, he's going to look good on the way out. How about you guys?
I think personally, I think the ring general is going to prevail. It's going to be a career-defining type victory for him. For some reason, WWE just wants to continue pushing them, and they're going to do it. So that's my opinion.
I think we get a Braun Breaker appearance.
Oh, okay.
And Gunther actually gets the win, and then you're off to the races with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins if he's healthy enough to come back, which seems to be the case from some of the reports that I've read. But it's the internet, so who knows? But that would be an easy out for them. It would make so much sense. Gunther gets his victory. He stays strong. Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins, burning up the summer. I wouldn't have him touch for a few months. Just have Braun Breaker keep avoiding him somehow, and you get the match at SummerSlam.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, to follow up with what Ricky just said and what went down on Raw the other night, I think that Gunther wins, most likely with the help of Braun Breaker and or Paul Heyman. And when Gunther goes to cash in his favor now, you're kind of we're back on that favor kick with Paul Heyman. It seems obvious that it's going to be Brock and Gunther at some point, most likely SummerSlam. So then now you can kind of have them be like Weasley heels, like, well, but Braun Breaker helped you, or I helped you. Like, you didn't do that on your own. Like, we don't owe you anything. And then Gunther almost kind of, I don't know if he could be a babyface against Brock. 'Cause the crowd loves Brock no matter what he does anyway, but it gives a logical reason for why Heyman and Braun Breaker, like, they wouldn't necessarily be baby faces in that scenario, because you can't have Paul Heyman be a babyface with Brock and then be a heel with the Vision. So character wise, you're kind of stuck there. But I think that Gunther wins. Maybe he gets help that he didn't ask for, and maybe he does kind of go babyface for a little bit. But then at the same time, you can't be a career killer and be a baby face. So the dynamics are all messed up, but I think the end result is this is going to kind of bridge us to SummerSlam with Gunther versus Brock. It almost feels like Seth is kind of being a setup guy for something as opposed to the guy getting his revenge. But I mean, the guys that he needs to get his revenge on aren't around right now, so you can leave that for the summer months.
And that will
So
be
you
the
think
biggest party.
the Gunther Brock Lesnar match eventually turns into like a retirement match as well?
I think Gunther and Lesnar is going to be the retirement match. I think that's going to be Brock's swan song at some point. SummerSlam's been rumored. You could stretch it out to Survivor Series if they want to do it on Peacock like they did for John Cena. I mean, that's their call. But it seems like Brock wants to wind down, or maybe they just want to wind him down. But he's one of those guys too, where I could see it where he retires now, and then in another year, Saudi Arabia is like, "Hey, we want Brock in the Rumble as a surprise. Here's 5 million. Come fly over for a day and just throw 10 guys out of the ring." Like, he would do it. He's all about the money talk.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Ricky, Greg Valentine never officially had a retirement match. I'm thinking SummerSlam, you could do Gunther Valentine. It hasn't been done.
Well, I'll put some butts in the seats for sure.
Only if he dresses like Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine, though. He's
Yeah.
got to come out in the Rhythm and Blues outfit, the
He won't
black
do
hair.
He won't.
And
do that.
realistically, if he can put that figure 4 on him, Gunther has tapped out before.
That's true.
He's tapped out to Jey Uso. He tapped out to AJ Styles. Ref didn't see it, but he did tap out. So
Especially with that brace on the leg. Oh my
yeah,
God.
absolutely. He can cause some damage. So you might be onto something.
I can see it. Hey, if you want to fill the other half of the arena, just talk to me for ideas. Now, we also have a fatal 4-way for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Charlotte Alexa, Nia and Lash Legend, the Bella Twins, Bailey and Lyra Valkyria. I'm going to go with Bailey and Lyra for the upset, but I feel like the company is going to put the Bella Twins over. What are your thoughts?
Chris, you were first on this one.
I'll go with the Bella
Do we
Twins.
have thoughts on this one? This is one of those matches where, I mean, the whole saga, it feels like it's just they're kind of trying to cram everybody into something. And, having the 4 corners match, it's a way to kind of cover for Lash Legend for being, on the come up, and she's still trying to hone her skills. And the Bellas being rusty and coming back, and they were never great work, good characters, but never great workers. So I get why you want Bailey in there. Charlotte, I haven't cared about in years. I always liked Alexa Bliss, but I'm not into the whole team thing. Probably the team that I like the most is the Bailey and Lyra Valkyria team, but I feel like they don't get treated seriously. So if they do win, it would be, to your point, like an underdog story type of win. But I think that we're in that era where everybody's kind of getting that one last run or that gold watch win, the whole thing with AJ Lee and stuff. So I can very easily see the Bellas getting their WrestleMania moment, and then whatever at Backlash or King of the Ring or whatever they're doing during the summer, they drop it back pretty quickly.
Or Great Balls of Fire, possibly.
Oh, please no.
Could be at that. Or Capital Punishment, maybe.
That'd
Johnny,
be
what are your
fine. See, I
thoughts?
can get down with Capital Punishment.
All right.
Big pun?
What are your thoughts, John?
I agree with Chris, and I'm going with the Bella Twins.
All right. Bella Twins taking it home. It's very possible. Then, of course, rounding out.
Oh, you didn't get my pick though.
I didn't get your pick?
Come on, man.
Ricky, Let's do it.
I'm also gonna go with the Bella Twins.
Okay, all right.
It's unanimous.
Well,
And
Yeah,
Chris dressed up in his Bella colors tonight. So
I did.
yeah,
I'm in Bree mode.
Primo. Oh God.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, I think
He's stuck in all our heads now.
I think it would be fine for the Bellas to win. They came back. Give them one last. I don't want them to win single championships. So give them the tag belts for a little bit, and they can run with that. They look great.
Yeah.
They
I'm
look
not
great.
I'm not against it. I'm just going for the underdogs,
Yeah.
But undisputed championship, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, obviously Pat in Randy's corner. This is the main event for night one. It's been a weird storyline, like you mentioned. It's been very odd. The fact that Pat's involvement obviously was rumored, to get more viewers and blah blah blah. But streamline it with sports audience and all that. But I don't know. Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Randy Orton. I am gonna have to go with Randy Orton. A match like that caliber, it could go either way. But I don't know, the whole Cody thing right now, it's a gray area. I feel like it's just kind of weird right now. It doesn't feel like he's the guy. And I don't know if they are continuing on with him as the guy, but we'll see where it goes. But I do think Randy Orton. How about you guys? Johnny?
Randy Orton is hearing voices again, correct? He is hearing voices. He rekindled back to his sadistic old ways, which I love a heel Randy Orton. I think it's going to be a fascinating match. I would love to see a heel Cody Rhodes. That's what I would like to see, because I don't think I'm not a big fan of Cody Rhodes at all, but I'm going for Orton.
All right. Chris?
Johnny actually used to hear a voice that said, "Stop buying sneakers." He never listened. This whole thing, I mean, I have not been a Randy Orton fan in like 20 years. You guys know. I kind of gave up on him after the whole rated RKO thing. I think that if they wanted something big, and obviously it's dependent on the people involved and what they can do, if it was The Rock getting involved again, they could have made it work by doing the double swerve. Like The Rock is talking to Randy Orton, but then The Rock is actually with Cody Rhodes. And then you can kind of have Stone Cold Randy Orton running around RKOing everybody, because nobody wants to boo him right now anyway. He's kind of earned that elder statesman status.
Yeah.
And with Cody, you've got a guy that he's getting the mixed crowd reactions. But are they going to be gun shy the way they were with Cena, where they didn't want to turn him heel? Because Cody Rhodes is not doing the level of Make-A-Wish that John Cena did, or the level of charity work. Like, I'm sure he's a great babyface to a lot of kids and stuff like that, but he's someone that you can survive after you turn him heel. But Randy Orton is also older and on the downswing. So do you want to leave him as your focal point as a babyface or a heel in the long term? He's also injury prone. I mean, he popped his shoulder out when he was doing his taunt that time years back. So it's a tricky situation. The addition of Pat McAfee is just mind-blowingly stupid, because that really feels like, hey, we've got a celebrity and we need to find a way to get them involved. And that's just like a very WCW way of looking at things. And I say that as a fan of WCW, but I mean, you went from having Dennis Rodman come out with the NWO because he was the bad boy, the rebel in the NBA. It made sense for him to be with them, and it led to some great stuff.
That was terrible.
But then you had Jay Leno feuding with Eric Bischoff. And it was like, that's what Pat McAfee feels like, even though he's an athlete and he's got experience in the WWE. It's like he does not belong anywhere near the main event at WrestleMania. But because he's in good with the top brass, here he is.
Ricky?
Well, I'd rather take Pat McAfee involved in the main event at WrestleMania over Travis Scott, which we got last year. So I guess it's some type of improvement. And that was absolutely one of the worst main events at WrestleMania history, in my opinion. The way it ended, just what a terrible feeling to close out the show. But I think Randy Orton is the way to go on this one. As a heel, that's fine. Like Chris said, he's going to get cheered. He's going to get booed. I think the Cody Rhodes promo on SmackDown was pretty good. He got a good crowd reaction from it with what he was saying. But overall, I think Orton takes it. And it'll be weird, right? Because you're going to close out WrestleMania with the heel going over, but at the same time, he's definitely going to get cheered. I don't think you pull the trigger on Cody turning heel just yet. there's still some juice there on his babyface run. But yeah, I don't think you pull the trigger yet, and Orton takes the title, and then Cody can get it back from him, and down the road. I don't think you have Orton win the title and he carries it to like next year's WrestleMania or anything like that. So
I just can't take Cody Rhodes serious at all. I don't know what it is, but he just doesn't do it for me.
Not for you.
I don't know what it is. If it's the lisp or something, I don't know what it is. The tattoo on the neck. I don't know what it is. That hairdo. But him and his father,
I don't know what it is, but he rattled off 3 things off the rip.
No, I'm serious though. But between him and even his father back in the day, I just wasn't a fan of him. I don't know. And I know that
Johnny's got the arm tattoos. He's going to do the doink thing with Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Johnny's going to be under the ring.
The doink thing.
That'd be amazing.
Get me an autograph backstage.
Hey, I'm excited for Doink at New England Fan Fest.
With the clown's coming to New England.
Hey, listen, Aiden is scared shitless.
He doesn't like clowns.
You got
to dress him up like Dink. You got to put the makeup on him like Dink. That'd be classic.
In the video game, he picks him, but he's like kind of like scared. And in the game, he comes out and he has the fake flower and he does the whole and hello. He's like, Dad, why would he do that to kids? So we're going over New England Fan Fest, and I get to Doink, and you have such a weird picture of Doink up there on the New England Fan Fest, like the pre-order and stuff. It's a creepy looking picture of Doink, and he saw it, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And he goes, "I don't have to take a picture with him, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, you do. It's Doink, man.
You don't get in
that
unless
photo up." Shout out to Doink, man.
Doink
all of them, all the Doinks out there.
All the Doinks.
Maybe not all of them, but some of them.
Not Alabama Doink.
No, not Alabama.
Alabama Doink is classic.
Oh man, I'm still waiting for Dinkhausen. I think that would be over with the fans. That's a whole other day.
Oh my God, you need to pitch that ASAP.
Dinkhausen. So listen, free. Let's talk free again. Free to the public for that first hour Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Kind of thrown together the guys that really didn't have a spot, a major spot on the show. The addition to Rey Mysterio, I think, is pretty cool. Kind of, who knows how many more times we're going to see Rey in a high-profile match at a WrestleMania. This could be it. Who knows? So I'm happy to see Rey in there. But Rey Mysterio, Penta, Javon Evans, Rusev getting a WrestleMania spot, J.D. McDonough, and Dragon Lee. It's the Intercontinental Championship on the line. For me personally, I'm going to have to go with Penta. What are you guys thinking? We'll start with Ricky.
Yeah, I want to see Penta retain in this situation. I know it's going to be tough. Anything can happen in a ladder match. And now the addition of Rey Mysterio, like we were saying before, it's just everything feels so random with this WrestleMania. This whole match was random. So they announced the match. They announced all the participants. I'm like, oh, it's great because you go down the list and you're like, these guys can easily steal the show. It's going to be a great match. Even the whole Rusev dynamic for the match, I think he'll be perfectly fine. You have like the muscle in there. He's cool. And, they announced the match. And then 2 days later, WWE has on their Twitter or on X, the qualifying matches are going to air. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. We already know who qualified for the match, which was so strange. But yeah, I think it would be cool if Penta he just got the title. He's so over with the crowd, and I think it'd be the right move. But it can go any. Someone can have their Zack Ryder moment.
Right, you never know.
Johnny,
who's
Chris,
taking it?
I think Mysterio's coming off an injury, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's been injured for a long time.
Yeah, right.
On and off.
I'm going to go with Penta, just like Joe. That's my choice.
Chris?
I would like to see Javon win. We're big Javon fans in this house. He's become one of Zach's favorites very quickly since his NXT run. But I think that he might be the Jeff Hardy of the match where he gets over by doing a couple of Daredevil spots. I mean, people love him anyway, and he loves doing the high-risk stuff. So I think you could have Penta retain with Javon still going over in the sense that he did the most memorable thing in the match. But also, this could be the time to crown your next generation of superstar. You're free on ESPN. It's a crazy match. It's a ladder match. So have him hit those memorable spots and then win. And then maybe you get some new fans that are willing to pay these ticket prices or travel to these shows because you've got a kid who's what, 20 years old, 21 years old. And if he stays healthy and stays safe, he can go on a 10, 15-year run at the minimum and be a focal point as long as you keep pushing him properly.
Well, Ricky and I will stay home.
And then of course we have Sami Zayn and Trick Williams. It's a U.S. title. I am not a Sami Zayn fan. It's not for me. I mean, but Trick Williams, he's up and coming. He's been killing it, and the fans are behind him. It's WrestleMania. I think it's time for Trick Williams. Step it up one more notch. What do you guys think, Ricky?
Trick Williams all day. It's not even. If he doesn't win, I'll probably just shut it off and call it a night. Sami Zayn just being in this match just angers me. You have Carmelo doing all the heavy lifting, and then for them, and I thought for a second, maybe they can do like a 3-way. That would be fair. But to take him off of WrestleMania after, he did like 10 weeks in a row of defenses, whatever. Even before that, he was on the show every single week, busting his ass. And then to take that away from him really freaking sucked, man. And I know Sammy's catching a lot of heat for it. It's not his call. He's not writing the show. He's doing what he's told to do. But I think you definitely put it on Trick, put the rocket on him. That guy is absolute money right now. Yeah. Everyone loves him. He's a heel. He's getting the biggest cheers of the night. He has so much swagger. 100% Trick. If they don't, they're dropping the ball big time.
Yeah. How about you, Johnny?
100%. I think he's a promising young talent for WWE. They should let him win and start his run in the WWE.
Yep. Chris?
Big Trick fans in this house. We do like Sami Zayn. When I say we, I'm of course referring to Zach. My son, for people who are viewing this and don't know, obviously you guys know. I don't think you do a double turn necessarily at WrestleMania because it's kind of that Cody Orton situation where Trick's going to get, a major pop and Sammy's going to get booed. I think you can hold off on doing a major angle. Just let Trick win and let, grumpy Sammy kind of show his true colors on the SmackDown after the fact or something. I agree completely with Carmelo Hayes. Even Dragunov, Dragunov was putting on some amazing matches and he's nowhere to be found for this WrestleMania. And Carmelo and Dragunov are two other guys that we love. But obviously the story of Sammy slowly going heel and the crowd going against him. And, we're talking about how they book these storylines and it sounds like all well and good. Oh, well, this is where Trick's going to go good and Sammy's going to go bad. But it's not like it was a mapped out storyline. They missed the peak on Sami Zayn. It's like they didn't take the shot when they could have, and he could have been world champion at some point, even if it was a short run. And I get why they didn't want to give it to him. But you think back to that bloodline and then the tag run with Kevin Owens and everything. I mean, he was there and then the fans would have bought it. And now it's like, okay, well, you didn't do it, but you keep making us want to think that this guy's credible or this guy's going to do something. And I think that's the risk that you run into with your LA Knight types or even like your Cody Rhodes, where people are on top for so long that the fans grow bitter. It's like that Hogan reaction. Sorry, Johnny, where you see the same people kind of getting rotated in and out. And now it's like, now it's time for a Trick Williams. Now it's time for a Jacob Fatu. Now it's time for a Javon Evans. Let's see some of these guys actually get elevated before things start getting too stale. Because otherwise we're going back into where we were, 15, 20 years ago, where it was Cena, Sheamus, Ray, Kane, Alberto Del Rio, like all those guys that were around in like the late 2000s, the early 10s. They have a chance to really actually elevate people now, and they've still got a backlog of talent that are in NXT and AAA that they could bring to the main roster. So they've got new matches for ages. So if you're going to turn Sammy heel, this would definitely be the time to do it and elevate Trick.
And I think,
to touch on something there too, if they do, Chris, say Javon Evans, if he ends up winning that match and then you have Trick win this match, just to have two African-American athletes, young guys, running a company, that's huge for them as well. Just to get a good mix of, a little bit of everything on the show for everyone, for all little kids to have someone to look up to. I think that would be awesome.
And I think that the payoff for the whole dragged out, Chad Gable gimmick, I think it should have happened at WrestleMania. I feel like that would have been the perfect opportunity to kind of unfold that whole package. And, you got to have that funny haha moment. And, he's not even on the show. And that's kind of strange because they've been pushing that so hard and now they're not even there. It's just kind of weird to me. But
see, I disagree with that. I think you do it in Mexico and you do a mask versus mask. Yeah. Oh, they are going to do it.
They're doing that in May. So I was going to say, I think the reason why is because obviously they started doing the Americano thing in AAA because it was going to be the easy heat. And first of all, you have to unmask Chad Gable because Ludwig
100%.
Kaiser, this guy got a second life with this whole gimmick and everything. But if you look at I don't know how regularly you guys are watching the AAA show or the NXT shows. The Americanos are baby faces everywhere except on the main roster.
Yeah.
And they're trying to position Chad Gable as the original, and obviously the second one is the imposter. It's like that Sin Cara gimmick all over again. But he's huge in AAA. He's like the number one babyface. Like Vikingo's a heel now. Dom's down there. Dom is obviously going to get booed no matter where he goes, even though he actually gets cheered down there for being, Ray's son and Eddie's son too. I agree it would be a great WrestleMania moment, but I just don't think the crowd would care as much as the AAA crowd, the authentic Mexican crowd, is caring right now about it.
Absolutely, especially if it's mask versus mask.
Yeah,
for them, there's so much meaning behind it. Here, we'll get, like you said, the haha moment, and that'll be it. Over there, they'll carry that for the next 20 years, and it'll be a big deal. And with Kaiser, that guy could literally just stay in Mexico for the rest of his life and be doing excellent, way better than he was doing here to begin with.
Yeah.
He is so over there. It's crazy. Just the crowd reactions. I watch all the videos, the Mexican fans talking about him. They're absolutely obsessed with the guy. And the fact that he speaks Spanish as well, and he's cutting promos, and the best is he's cutting promos and saying things you shouldn't be saying. You wouldn't be able to say on TV here because it's very offensive, Mexican slang language, and he just gets away with it because no one knows what the hell he's saying when they play it here, which is phenomenal.
Hopefully AAA gets the rub and they get some involvement at WrestleMania, something big, whether it be somebody running in or starting a storyline that'll carry over to their program. But I think something big will be tied in for WrestleMania for sure. Now, what I don't agree, what's that?
We need Iguana, Mr. Iguana.
Iguana, absolutely.
Iguana and Danhausen.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And apparently, supposedly, Mattel's going to tap into the AAA toys, making the AAA guys. So whoever they're going to make in those first few waves, they're going to have to rotate into TV here, just to create a little bit of buzz for those guys as well.
Right, absolutely.
It'll be Mr. Iguana, Vikingo, some of those main guys that they've had on NXT and stuff. Psycho Clown, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
all the DLC guys, basically.
Yeah,
for the most part, for sure.
Now, what I don't agree with, according to the graphic, part of the first hour for night 2, free to the public, ESPN, Oba Femi, Brock Lesnar. It makes 0 sense. Doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't be. I don't know. That's one of their big. Yeah, it's not a title match, sure, but that's the match that people want to see. That's the big one. And you're going to give that away for free at the beginning of your show? I think that's a huge mistake. I think that is the match that for people that are on the fence that, they're going to purchase WrestleMania. And now you're giving it away for free. They'll be like, oh, I don't need to see Roman versus Punk. I just saw the match that I want to see. So that's a little disappointing. I don't know why they're doing that. It's not, in my opinion, it's not a smart move. Maybe there's something behind it that I don't know. But Brock Lesnar, Oba Femi, obviously that's a tough one. It could go either way. Lesnar doesn't lose for the most part. And Oba Femi, obviously they're building him up to be the next Lesnar. So I got to go with Oba. This is, Lesnar supposedly, like you said, on his way out. So how could you not pass the torch? We'll see. And maybe it won't be a clean victory. Maybe something will happen, but I do think he's going to take it home. How about you, Chris?
I think it needs to be Oba Femi. I don't think Brock needs to be protected any more than he already is by not losing or not doing the job. We've seen him lose many times over the years. And I think if they're smart with their booking, they can work that into this supposed Gunther angle that's coming. Because if Brock loses, Gunther can be like, you know what, talking to Paul Heyman or something. He's weak. He's not your beast anymore. Like this gives Gunther a reason to target him. Like, he's a shell of what he used to be. He can't hang. He lost to Obafemi. Who the hell is Obafemi? Like, maybe not disrespect Oba that sense, but you know what I'm saying? Like, be a heel about it. And that kind of leads Brock to be like, you know what? Like, I lost on one night, but I could kick your ass any night of the week. And then you start building and teasing stuff like that. So I think that now is the time for Brock to look vulnerable. I don't think you need to do this whole unbeaten madman that finally loses, because then I don't think people would take it as seriously, if that makes sense. It's kind of like the Undertaker thing when he lost, and people were kind of like, "What the hell?" Like he never loses at WrestleMania. If you have Brock go unbeaten, and then you have that contingent of people that don't care about Gunther or they don't see him in the same light, you're going to get that backlash of, "Oh, well, we knew this was coming," or whatever. So if you have Brock lose along the way, at least just to Oba, I'm not saying put him on Raw and have him lose to Dragon Lee or anything like that, but let him lose at WrestleMania and let Brock start kind of humbling himself or getting humbled by someone. And then you can build up that thing with Gunther as a grudge, because it's like, okay, we saw him lose at WrestleMania. Could he win his final match? Or are they just going to give it to Gunther and keep this whole career killer thing going? Because if you send him into that match with Gunther looking like the killer because he ended Cena's career, Goldberg's career, AJ Styles' career, you put Brock in the underdog position, which, unless he was fighting someone like Roman, he was never really in.
True. Johnny?
Yeah, I don't know. I disagree. What about if I don't think Oba is the next big thing? Like I said earlier, I think Brock is going to win. What happens if Oba loses and Brock faces Gunther? Is that a possibility? Could that be a possibility? Something like that.
I mean, I could see that happening for sure, because then you just keep Brock on his high horse and sick Gunther on him. But I think if Oba loses now, especially with the way the reactions have been for like the last month or so, he's going to end up in like Ryback territory, where he just never, and it won't be a thing of them necessarily giving up on him, but you're gonna kill your momentum, and they are they have the biggest safety net they could ask for. They have billions of dollars in revenue coming in from television, from merchandising. Like, people might not be buying tickets, but they're sure as hell still buying t-shirts and action figures and stuff like that. They have the biggest safety net. So they could decide to push Tyler Bate to the moon right now, and it wouldn't make a difference with the money that they've got in the bank. So if you've got someone like Oba, who could be a genuine star and maybe be some type of crossover star and be this big, intimidating powerhouse, and as a babyface, the kids love him, and as a heel, he can tear through other guys on your roster, do it, because it kind of goes back to the Cody Orton thing. It's like, these guys are good now, and these guys can still go now, but you're on borrowed time for Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, and stuff like that. They were in OVW 23, 24 years ago. Brock Lesnar debuted on the main roster the day after WrestleMania 24 years ago. So it's nothing against his career, nothing against his legacy, but if there was ever a time for Brock Lesnar to do the job, do it for Oba.
Yeah.
Ricky?
Yeah, 100% Oba. No, I'm a Brock Lesnar guy. I think I think he gets a lot of shit for the way he's booked sometimes, but even with this Oba, the few interactions they've had, he's bumping for Oba like crazy. He's making him look like $1,000,000. I think you go all the way, like Chris said, it would be he mentioned Ryback, like falling into that Ryback thing, but there's been plenty of WrestleManias where you look and you're like, why do they go that way? Why did they have Rusev lose to John Cena that WrestleMania? How about like Bray Wyatt lose? Like, you kill that momentum. And Oba is so hot right now. They pan to the crowd. Everyone's doing his entrance across the board. The music, the presentation. He can go in the ring. I think Lesnar could make him look like $1,000,000. I wouldn't be mad if they did, what Lesnar's done to Cena a couple of times, where you just go in there and just have Oba just absolutely demolish him.
Dominate him.
And it just puts him
like with Goldberg, just finisher,
absolutely.
like that type of thing.
You have Oba just overpower him it's not going to hurt Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar could go off and do any other feud. No one's going to take anything away from him. He's still the beast. He's still Brock Lesnar, but you just put Oba in a whole different stratosphere if you do that. And you can push him to wherever you want to get him and extremely quickly if they want to go that route.
Up next, we have Dirty Dom and the Demon Finn Balor. And I think that, in my opinion, was another big mistake because you want those special WrestleMania moments. And I feel like the Demon music hitting. Now, obviously, they're still going to pop crazy for him when he comes out as a demon. But if they didn't know he was coming out as a demon and that music hits and he comes out, that pop would have been insane. And just giving that away, my only thought is that, well, maybe it's just another attempt to try to fill some more seats. And that's why John Cena is also the the special host. These little things that they put together just to try to fill the extra seats. But Dirty Dom, Finn, I think it's gonna be amazing. I think it's gonna be great. Both are awesome. I'm a big fan of both. Very excited to see the Demon back, and that's another one that I feel like could go either way. And honestly, as unpopular as it might be, I would love to see Dom win. Even with, Demon coming back, everybody thinks he's going to win. Dom still gets the victory, whether it be by cheating or whatever. But I think Dom's going to go home with it. What are your thoughts, Ricky?
Yeah, I'm torn on this one. Like you said, it makes no sense if the theme would have hit and it's Demon coming out. That would have been awesome. I don't know. I feel like depending on where they're going to go with Finn Balor, right? Because if they're going to push him, he doesn't have to go main event status, but if he's going to be like high tier, mid tier guy, they need to have him get some wins. Finn Balor's taken so many pins over the last few years. He's a jobber. Finn Balor is a jobber, which is crazy to say. He's one of the most talented guys on the roster. So, to have him lose another match, especially he just turned face after, years of being a bad guy. I don't see that happening, but I can also see maybe if they're going to keep this Judgment Day thing going, maybe a new Judgment Day member possibly helping Dom win and costing Finn the match. That's the only way I can kind of like stomach Finn losing another high profile match, because it's just been way too long since he's gotten like a big victory over someone. But I want to say Finn, but I feel like somehow Dom is going to cheat his way to victory here.
John?
I agree with Ricky. I'm going to root for Finn Balor.
Nice. How about you, Chris?
I just have to say that it's sad that we're getting the Demon's return and it's going to be in a sunlit stadium, because it's going to be like the middle of the day when he comes out. Like, the Demon's return should come at night, so they better hold that match till like right before
they're
the main
inside
event.
though in Vegas. They're in a dome.
So you think they're going to close the dome just for the Demon's entrance?
Yeah, they shut the lights off, man.
They said,
Good. Shut the lights
to
off
your
for the
point,
Demon.
To your point, though, about a new member, I think that this would be a good time to call up Josh Briggs. I think Josh Briggs fits in with that Judgment Day motif. He's kind of like the roughneck, big badass of NXT, and he's been down in NXT for a while. If you call him up and have him be just like Dom's bodyguard, because Dom, remember there was that kind of throwaway line a couple of months back where Dom's like, "What about getting a new member? What if we had some muscle?" And then they kind of went nowhere with it because of the injuries and storylines changing. So now if you kind of do maybe like that Sean Diesel thing with Dom
Needs
for a
a
while.
heater.
Yeah. So you have JD be the flunky, have Briggs be like, what Priest was, kind of like the big man of the group, decide what you're going to do with the girls. So even if you have Finn Balor win, like let Finn Balor celebrate. And then maybe the next night on Raw, Dom's like, "You beat me. You think I'm going to forget it?" And like, maybe he's distracting him with the promo. And then you call up somebody like Briggs to take out Finn Balor. And then maybe Balor's going to go get a partner to do a tag feud or something.
I'm hearing rumors of Scott Norton Haku Brawl for All on the pre-show. I would love to see it. I hope
I'd
it's
be fine with
real.
that. Scott Norton, one of my favorite people in wrestling. We did his Figures Toy Company, and for as big and as wild as and intense as he was on television, that man is one of the nicest men I've had the pleasure of dealing with in wrestling. Super, super nice guy. So yeah, bring back Scott Norton for sure. I'd be down for that.
Never say never. Raja.com. Please make it happen.
And you've
And
dealt with a lot of men before, so you know.
Oh,
you've had a
wow.
lot of
Oh, not on
experience
this
there.
podcast, though.
No.
And then we have the WWE Women's Championship match. Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill. I'm going to have to go with Rhea on this one, but I know they're sending Jade to the moon, so it could go either way. It's a tough one, but I'm going to go with Rhea. How about you, John?
I'm not familiar with both of them, to be honest with you, but I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley. From what I know of her, what I've seen of her on WWE, I'm going to pick her.
Chris?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley. I think that they have something in Jade, but it just hasn't resonated. I don't think it's like translated very well. And like now this little new heel group with Michin and BFAB, it doesn't feel like a main event act. It doesn't feel like what she needs right now. So I think they can put the belt on Rhea. Obviously, she's the superstar of the women's division. Let her run with the belt for a bit while they kind of tinker around with Jade and figure out where they can place her, where they can really truly elevate her to the top of the card.
Ricky?
Yeah, I'll go Ripley.
Yeah.
It's just...
Now, John Cena being the special guest host of WrestleMania, let's talk about that real quick. You know, what would you like to see his involvement? Is there one superstar you'd like to see him interact with? For me personally, I would love to see a spot with him and Hausen. I think they could pull off something really entertaining. And, you know, John's obviously, a humorous guy, and I think that they could pull it off. So that's what I'd like to see. How about you guys? Ricky?
100%. Before you even said it, I've been called. As soon as I heard John Cena as a host, I'm like, there has to be like a Danhausen spot for it. I was thinking, like, just talking to Aiden, going back and forth. We were saying something. He goes, "Dad, what if Danhausen can actually see John Cena?" And I'm like, wow, that would be crazy if they've somehow they're doing a spot where he's talking to someone and everyone's like, who is he talking to? And it's actually John Cena somehow. He can actually see him. I think there's so much there that they can do. I think that would be awesome. But that's like the first guy I thought about when they announced John Cena. Danhausen, you know, it's crazy because he's on Raw, he's on SmackDown every week. And I love it. We can't get enough. I'm literally watching Raw with Aiden. He falls asleep, you know, past his bedtime, and I'll go on my phone just to catch whatever Danhausen did. And he's doing so much more backstage that they're posting on X. And you know, as soon as Aiden wakes up the next day, I'm showing him everything, all the clips. We absolutely love it. He already has his Danhausen T-shirt that came in. But my fear with that is that they're just gonna overdo it as well. As much as I'm digging it, I'm loving it. Danhausen every week. Then I'm like, maybe they should cut back a little. I don't know if he should be on Raw and SmackDown, because you don't want to like overplay it. Even though, you know, everyone shit on his night one debut. They were like, oh, absolutely terrible. And he's been fire, and he's been like the hottest thing in wrestling since. So I think they have to carefully, you know, I don't know if he's going to end up wrestling at all. At some point, he's going to have to get in the ring, right? But what they've been doing with him has been excellent. I think he should definitely be all over WrestleMania in some capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, too much too soon. You don't want to go too crazy, but Danhausen has to be a part of WrestleMania. And it's crazy to think, you know, just a few months ago, you know, he's wrestling on indie shows. He's built up this character for years now on the indies and then AEW, and, you know, and now he's going to be on WrestleMania. You know, how special is that for him? A character that you created, and now you're portraying that at WrestleMania. That's pretty big. Johnny, what do you think's going on with John Cena? What would you like to see him do?
So I think Cena's going to come out with a kilt and have a Cena's pit and a special guest by Brother Love.
All right. Okay.
That's what I think.
Wow.
I'm okay with that, honestly. That's
Way
good.
out there. I like it.
Chris, what are you thinking?
What are DraftKings odds on that one?
I don't know, but he already placed the bet. He bet the house.
We're going to get the old timers back, you know?
Yes. Chris, what are you thinking?
I think Cena's going to come out and he's going to take off his T-shirt to reveal a referee shirt and do an unannounced match between the returning Stone Cold Steve Austin and the woman from the front row last year.
Ooh. Okay.
I like that.
All right.
I think that's going to be her meat good for the ATV crash last year.
Oh man.
We're gonna get the woman from the front row getting her revenge on Stone Cold.
In an ATV
Rest
match.
in peace. Oh.
That'd be awesome.
I don't think we'll see the ATV ever again.
No.
Khan's not going to allow that. Oh my gosh. All right, then we move on. The big main event, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. Before I say this, though, as a kid, I always looked forward to the celebrity announcements. Obviously, I Show Speed is a part of the show, if you want to call that a celebrity. But back in the day, I would get so excited over the different participation, special guest timekeeper, ring announcer, who's performing. It's Aretha Franklin, it's Boys to Men. It was always a big name. Right. Now you have somebody open the show. You have no idea who's singing. You know, you don't know who they are. So I do miss the celebrity, you know, that big moment when you had all the, you know, now you just have some of the basketball players in the front row, a couple rappers, and there it is. WrestleMania celebrities are in the house. But what's your take on that real quick?
Well,
I think the culture has just changed. It's like our culture, you know, you have someone like a Taylor Swift or whatever who's like a megastar and known the world over. But when we were all growing up, it's like you had all these celebrities, you had Boys to Men, Mariah Carey, like whoever it was in the music industry, the movie industry. And just with social media and just the constant connection to the world with being able to look at everything on your phone, Facebook, Twitter, you can add these people, they might respond to you. It's almost like we've kind of lost what celebrity means along the way. So now WWE is just like, oh, well, you're an influencer. Oh, you've got followers. It's like you could have followers for doing nothing. It's like, oh, I eat my yogurt with a fork. Well, you've got 1 million followers. We're going to put you on WrestleMania. It's like there's no discretion as to who counts as a celebrity anymore. And as you see with guys like I Show Speed and Logan Paul, you know, he puts in the work. He's good in the ring. Like, you know, he's good at what he does. And obviously they wanted him because he has a built-in fan base. But it's just kind of like, okay, well, what can we trend with? What can we make go viral? And that's just the world that we're living in now.
I could be wrong, but the last decent celebrity I remember was Mike Tyson, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the biggest and most successful, you know, that they've had. But they had Shaq at WrestleMania not too long ago, maybe 8 years ago or something like that.
That was Dallas. That was 2016, but that was the pre-show battle royal. So it wasn't even really hyped all that much. It wasn't like a main card thing or anything.
Was that on the pre-show?
They've had
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the one that Baron Corbin won.
Yeah, I was there. Orlando.
Yeah, so was that? Yeah. No, that was Dallas. That was 2016.
Was
yeah, that was the Dallas one.
Who was Orlando? Wasn't there someone in Orlando? Oh no, Gronk was in the front row.
Orlando
right?
was the Gronk.
The Gronk.
Yeah, that was the Gronk with Jinder Mahal. Yep.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Roman and Punk, I'm gonna have to go with Punk. You know, this is his moment. You know, everybody has wanted to see this. You know, WrestleMania, the victory. I think it's gonna happen. That's just my opinion. No, Ricky?
I don't think everyone's been waiting for it.
Well, I think so.
I mean, I know what you mean. He got his night one main event last year. You came back. You cried for so many years. You wanted WrestleMania. You were champion. You never got to close the show. Listen, you got to close the show last year. Now you got to close night 2 of the show, but we need to make things right. We need to get the title back on the Tribal Chief, the OTC. Roman Reigns can carry the company. He's still getting the biggest reactions for the most part when he comes out, and he's a part-timer, right? And still doing it. I think you put it back on Roman. I don't think realistically Punk would have been in the spot if Seth Rollins didn't get hurt. I don't think he goes into WrestleMania as champion right now. Maybe he would. I think they probably would have had Punk versus Rollins for the title. Maybe he could have got his chance there and won the title at WrestleMania if he was facing Rollins. But I think you put Roman. Well, I think you put Roman over. That's who I'm going with. That's my guy.
Johnny, who you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with CM Punk just because he's a part-timer. Reign. I know what Ricky's saying, but I'm gonna go with Punk, and he's gonna continue his reign as champ.
Chris?
I think that Punk's going to win. I feel like Roman has done everything right now. I don't think there's anything really fresh. I mean, now is not the time for Roman versus Obafemi or anything like that. So if you do put the belt back on Roman, do you go back to, Roman and Bloodline type stuff? Do you go back to Roman and Brock? Like Braun Breaker seems earmarked for Seth Rollins, so you're not going to do that as a major feud yet. We don't know when Bronson Reed's coming back. So I don't think that Roman needs the title right now. It might not be his last chance at getting it. I could see him getting it at some other point. But I think right now there's more maneuvering that you could do with Punk, because I think if Punk wins at WrestleMania, I think that's kind of the gateway to maybe turning him heel. Or if you want to keep him babyface and turn Cody Rhodes heel, you could have Cody Rhodes move over from SmackDown, and you can finally do your Cody and Punk program over the title on Raw. So I think there's more diversity in what you can do with Punk as a face or a heel than if Roman was the champion right now.
And I should mention the WWE Hall of Fame, obviously a part of the weekend as always. This year headlined by Stephanie McMahon. You have AJ Styles, Dennis Rodman, The Worm, as far as the celebrity wing goes. Bad News Brown and Psycho Sid not getting that full induction. The family won't be there from what I'm hearing.
Wow.
That's
I don't like
terrible.
that. I don't like that at all.
Absolutely bullshit. Yeah, his son made a comment that they don't get a speech. That's unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. All those years that they put in it.
I will not be watching the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah.
Over that. That's messed up. Sid?
Wow.
Come on, man. Sid?
I know.
Come on.
AJ Styles, another member of the Hall of Fame. And then, of course, the second time that they're inducting a match, the Immortal Moment, Hulk Hogan and Andre, which, that just goes without saying, I guess.
We get that match right here on the podcast tonight. Johnny's going to come over and slam me as soon as the recording's over. See that?
Oh, God. Pause.
Before we take it home, a couple of rapid fire questions before we take it home here. Favorite celebrity appearance, any WrestleMania? Tyson for me, Iron Mike Tyson. Chris, how about you?
Mike Tyson. I was there for that. I was in Boston for that WrestleMania. Great night, great experience. And then growing up, a boxing fan, I used to watch all those Tyson fights. So that was just really cool. And he helped Stone Cold win. And Austin's one of my all-time favorites. So just a cool moment.
Ricky?
Same 100% Tyson. And what it meant for wrestling at the time, he changed everything for them, especially with the Monday Night Wars going on. He was a game changer. That was huge for them to do. And, growing up, you guys remember the 90s, Tyson, it didn't get any bigger than that. The buzz that guy used to generate, even his comeback fight, was it like Peter McNeely or whatever? So much hype, so much buzz. This guy got out of prison, and Mike Tyson was different, man. So definitely Mike Tyson.
I agree. Tyson.
Same thing, Johnny?
100%.
Second question, real quick. Favorite Mania entrance of all time? I'm going with WrestleMania 14, The Undertaker. First time we saw the torches come out like that. Huge entrance. Pretty awesome. Johnny, what are you thinking? WrestleMania entrances. Do you remember any of the big ones?
I'm going to go with the icon versus icon, WrestleMania 18, Hogan and The Rock. I just think both those entrances, I know we all, they're just regular entrances, but I just think that was such a great match, such an iconic match. It's one of my favorite WrestleManias too. So I'm going to have to go at WrestleMania 18.
Awesome. Next up, what are you thinking?
There's just been so many awesome entrances. One thing I will say, which I think still counts as an entrance, is Ultimate Warrior coming to save Hogan.
That was
I know it's not like coming, but man, how many times did I go to like Major Video and get that VHS just to watch that moment? And he's just flying. It seems like it's taken forever, and he's going as fast as possible. So that was like one entrance that I absolutely love. And I also would love them to bring back the old school, like WrestleMania. What would you call it?
I thought you were going to say Greg Valentine.
Absolutely not.
The ring, Rick?
The ring that would just get them to the actual ring.
Oh, yeah.
If they could just bring that back for one WrestleMania, that would be amazing.
It's funny.
Bring it back, but Stone Cold is driving. Oh,
yeah.
It's funny Ricky said Ultimate Warrior, because I almost said WrestleMania 6 when Hogan fought Warrior. Warrior came
Yeah.
out, and as a kid in 1990?
Yeah.
90, yeah.
That was just unbelievable.
You just saw the sea of people with a spotlight, and you just see his arm.
Yep,
You know,
Yeah.
that was amazing.
So good.
Yeah, Chris.
My favorite, other than the Warrior run-in, one that I was very fortunate to be in the crowd for, but when Stone Cold came out at WrestleMania X7 in 2001, just being in that crowd, like I felt it. And obviously, we know how everything ended at the end of that night and where the business went for a while. But when Stone Cold came out for that match, there was not a person sitting in that crowd. Everybody was on their feet.
What a pop.
So 2 last questions before we go. The first being favorite WrestleMania overall of all time, and then who your 2 runners up would be. My favorite WrestleMania would be 17, what you just mentioned. I think top to bottom, that card was unbelievable. WrestleMania 9 for nostalgic purposes. As a kid, the Coliseum home video, you know, it was just so unique. Caesar's Palace, it was outdoors, the crazy entrances with the Undertaker and I don't know, it was just really cool. And WrestleMania 10, you know, some of the matches were obviously quick, but there were also some great moments for WrestleMania 10, and it was just such a good feel. Like WrestleMania 10 was such a big fight feel. So 17, 9, and 10 for me. How about you, Ricky?
I was gonna say 17. I think that's on most people's, top 3, top 5. I also was gonna say WrestleMania 10. I love 9, Caesar's Palace. Just the whole feel for that was unbelievable. And then, with WrestleMania 10, it opened up with Brett and Owen in a classic. It also has my favorite WrestleMania match of all time on there, which I'm sure we'll get to if you're gonna ask that question.
Earthquake and Atom Bomb.
That's my second.
Okay.
But with Shawn and Razor, because Razor was my guy. And then the other WrestleMania for me, and I can't think of what number it is, would be the and I was there. That's probably why I love it so much. But Daniel Bryan, even though I'm not a Daniel Bryan guy, finally winning the championship, and Brock Lesnar just beating the streak that night, which was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And just to feel that crowd, like the energy when Taker lost, it was like everyone was heartbroken, except me. I was kind of laughing. The guy next to me was probably in his 50s, super normal guy the whole time. He had told me he'd been to like 12 WrestleManias. We were chatting. I looked over. This guy is crying, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, he's feeling it. I was in shock, but I was, everyone's pissed around me, and this guy actually got up and he's like, you know what? I've had enough. And I thought he was going to go get a drink or something, and he never came back. The guy just left WrestleMania. So to be part of something like that, a moment so big where it upset someone so much that they just left WrestleMania, that's that's on my top list right there. That was pretty cool.
He wouldn't have done that now with these prices.
Absolutely not. You're staying for the whole show.
Johnny, what are you thinking?
Oh, man, I'm going to have to go, of course, WrestleMania 5, my all-time favorite. I don't know. It's just like a sense of nostalgia for me. Like, just from the red, white, and blue ropes, the bounce of the ring, the commentators, Monsoon and Ventura, just everything, between Hogan's entrance, Macho Man, Elizabeth's entrance, just something. I don't know what it is, but that WrestleMania 5, Trump Plaza, Atlantic City. Till this day, I asked my mother and father, because they used to visit Atlantic City all the time. And I told them, I was 9. My birthday's in March. So every March I celebrate WrestleMania, basically. So March of 89 was WrestleMania 5. And I said, you couldn't get tickets that year. You couldn't get tickets for me. You couldn't surprise me, But yeah, that WrestleMania between the guardrails, remember they had the fence instead of the mats?
Yeah.
Just, I don't know what it is when, Haku comes out, King Haku, the first match of WrestleMania 5, Demolition and Powers of Pain, and WrestleMania 5. It is my favorite. Then I got to go. I love WrestleMania 13, Bret Hart and Stone Cold. I love that match, of course. That WrestleMania was pretty good. and WrestleMania 2002 with Hogan and The Rock.
Oh yeah,
WrestleMania 18.
Awesome.
And I love
Chris?
WrestleMania 4 too.
Yes.
I
Trump
wasn't
Plaza,
happy
they
with
went 6 in a
WrestleMania
row.
6 when Hogan lost to Warrior, but then he redeemed himself against Slaughter. And then after that, WrestleMania 9, I know Ricky and Joe, you liked WrestleMania 9. I wasn't a fan of it, even though Hogan won. I didn't like how they used Bret Hart in that WrestleMania. So then I started to phase out a little bit. If it wasn't for Depetrillo, I probably wouldn't have gotten back in, to be honest.
Yeah. Chris, what are you thinking?
So the first two are two that I was fortunate enough to be in the crowd for. So WrestleMania X7, which I think is just the best bell-to-bell WrestleMania of all time, and getting to be in that building that whole week, working at Axxess and then being in the crowd for the event. That's just like memories, nostalgia, how it played out on TV, just everything makes that my favorite of all time. Second would be WrestleMania 14, not just from being there, but that kicked off like the most fun era since we were kids. Everything was starting to get cool again from 96 onward with the Monday Night War and stuff like that. But I think that WWF really started hitting its stride, starting with that WrestleMania and the Mike Tyson stuff, and where everything went afterwards with the Austin versus McMahon, the corporation, and then all the craziness of 99. So those would be my top two choices. And then actually, copying Johnny here, I love WrestleMania 5. It was probably my most rewatched WrestleMania as a kid, as far as the one that I had on tape. But it wasn't for the Hogan Savage or anything like that. It was for the heelish actions of two of my all-time favorites on that one. As much as I love the Warrior, I love Ravishing Rick Rude. So I love the Intercontinental title match on that one and the famous holding of the foot by Bobby the Brain Heenan.
One
And
of the
I
best
love Rick
finishes
Martel.
ever.
Yeah, and I love Rick Martel. So we get the breakup of Strikeforce, which began his career as Rick the Model Martel. So I love it for those reasons. Just two of my favorite heels of all time, getting some big wins or some big turning points in their career. So that would be my number three.
And Joe, I always look back at the first match. I always say Haku and Hercules, the mighty Hercules. Remember him?
Oh yeah, what a way to kick it off.
And he beat Haku. I mean, if that match was today, no way that would happen.
The nice thing about back then is, every star kind of had like a larger than life feel to it, Yep. Haku with the chain, and Hercules with the chain, and Haku, just his presence, you knew somebody was going to get roughed up, but everybody just had that larger than life persona. We are kind of missing that today. A lot of the guys are more, just average looking, and, Sami Zayn, you'll see him at Walmart. You know what I mean? It's not,
Right.
you're not going to see Hercules with the chain at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's where we are, but I'm there. I'm here for the long haul. So it doesn't matter. I'm waiting until I see Dinkhausen, and it may be a while, but I'm ready for it. And now with the final question, favorite WrestleMania match of all time and your two runners up. For me personally, Austin, Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13, like you mentioned, John, that match was just the perfect match. If you like technical wrestling, if you like, and not only was it technical, but then it also had the brawl side of it as well. So, that was just a perfect match. The gimmick battle royal, just because I love the gimmicks, and that is a match that I find myself watching every single year. If I don't watch the whole WrestleMania, I'm at least watching the gimmick battle royal just for nostalgia purposes. Everybody gets their separate entrances, which you don't usually get in a battle royal, and it was just so awesome. And then Hogan Rock, WrestleMania 18. You want big fight feel. I don't think there's much more of a big fight feel than that match. That match was unbelievable. And that crowd, I don't think there was more of an electric crowd at a WrestleMania for like a full match. You know what I mean? That was just like they were invested. So those are my top three. How about you, John?
WrestleMania 5, Hogan Macho. I'm going to have to go at WrestleMania 13, Bret Hart Stone Cold, and Hogan versus Rock.
Awesome. Ricky?
Favorite match, WrestleMania match of all time, Razor versus Shawn. Ladder match, WrestleMania 10. Razor was my guy, but I had never seen anything like that before up to that point. So I remember watching it that night and just I didn't want it to end. And then Razor won on top of it, which was unbelievable. And just being there for kind of like the build up. I was in attendance for the Royal Rumble that year. So it was pretty cool to see the storyline finish there. That would be number one. Hogan Rock, like, I have to put that on there. It's just watching that. Even to today, you go back, watch. They're looking at each other, kind of turn in the match. They're looking at the crowd. The actual match itself, if you watch the match, it's very just basic match. It's nothing crazy, but that crowd just made it so magical. And it will go down as probably, like you said, like as far as the crowd reaction, probably, I don't know if we'll ever see anything like that ever again or feel that way. And for the third match, I would say, just because I was in attendance for this, and I at the time I thought it was such a monster match, is John Cena versus The Rock, the first one from Miami. Just being in the crowd and just feeling the energy, and The Rock, getting that win over John Cena at the time was pretty huge. So I'll go that as my third runner-up.
And that reminds me, Miami, if I had to have an honorable mention or a runner-up, it would be the Hell in the Cell, the end of
Also
an era
ridiculous.
match. That match was so good, and the crowd was so into that match. And I don't know, I was there live as well.
You were there, yeah. I remember we met up for lunch.
Yep, and it just had such a special feel, that match. You know what I mean? But real quick, before we get to Chris and end it all, I got to ask you, it's not WrestleMania related, but being Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, your number one match of all time, Razor Ramon, your favorite superstar of all time. How did you feel about the runner-up after that, the SummerSlam 95 ladder match?
I thought it was excellent. I don't think it gets the praise it should. I actually just watched it a few months ago. Okay. And if you're comparing it to WrestleMania 10, it might be a little better than the WrestleMania 10 match.
I was going to say, I just watched it 2 weeks ago, and I thought it was amazing. I haven't seen it in so long. It was amazing.
Yeah, so good.
Nobody ever talks about it.
No one ever talks about it. I don't get it. And I went back and watched it with Aiden, because I'm going back and watching a ton of matches with them. And I'm like, holy shit, this might be better than the first one.
Yeah.
It might be. I don't know.
They always talk about Razor and Shawn at WrestleMania 10 because they say that was the first WWF ladder match. But on Coliseum Home Video, I watched Brett versus Shawn in the ladder match 2 years before that. So it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But very strange.
And
Chris,
the one
what do you
in 95
think?
wasn't even supposed to happen. That was supposed to be Shawn versus Sid. And they changed it like 2 weeks before SummerSlam because they wanted like a more exciting match. So I think the fact that there wasn't like a big build to it and the botched finish where Michaels kind of threw the hissy fit, I think those two things are why people don't remember it as much, because there wasn't as much going into it. It was almost like an AEW gimmick match. Like, oh, tonight there's going to be a tornado tag. These two teams have never fought before. Why are we starting with a stipulation? Like that kind of thing. I mean, at least with Shawn and Razor, it made sense to rematch it. But they were both baby faces. There was no long-term storytelling, no tension, no arguments on Raw really or anything like that. So I think that's why it doesn't get remembered as well, but it is a great match.
Why don't you tell us your favorite match and the two runner-ups?
So favorite match, Austin and Brett, for the action and the storytelling. Just the masterclass in doing that double turn is just fantastic. Just an iconic match. My runner-up, which was my all-time favorite until that match, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Randy Macho Man Savage at WrestleMania 3. And then my number 3 is the Macho Man retirement match against the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 7. That match, I feel, Savage came back and it doesn't get talked about as much as being so important or so high impact. But I think that's the best match of Warrior's career, even better than the Hogan match.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys joining us for this. This has been fun. WrestleMania season is upon us. We're almost there, and before you know it, we'll be putting together the card for next year's WrestleMania. It goes by quick, that is for sure. And hopefully, I'll see you guys at New England Fan Fest coming up on May the 2nd. But before that, we got WrestleMania. So, Chris Depetrillo for Ricky Gonzalez, who is Falls Count Anywhere right now, and then of course Johnny Disumma. Yeah, he got cursed.
Thanks for having me, Joe. It was fun.
Thank you guys for joining me, and just stick with me for a minute. And for the All Access podcast, I am Joseph Bruen. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment. We'd love to hear from you, the fans, what you thought of this episode and what you'd like to see on the next. And we will see you all next.